Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I say on every episode, we got a great show for you. We got Naturally Seven coming on. Well, matter of fact, we got two of them.
Yes.
We got Roger and Ricky both coming on to kind of represent the seven. And they're a really awesome, unique group.
Oh, they are. Yes.
They're a band without the band. So
Right.
it's really cool when you hear them and you're like, there's no instruments there.
But it sounds
like there's instruments, and it's just
with their voices.
and it's just unbelievable. And we're excited to kind of talk to them about what they do and music
Yes.
and hear their stories. So Roger and Ricky, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having us. Thank you.
It's definitely our pleasure. Like we were talking about beforehand, I always like to start the show out with the kind of elephant in the room, so to speak.
Oh, yes.
COVID. How has COVID affected what y'all do? And what have you done to kind of maneuver through this crazy new maze that we have?
Well, you're on mute, Roger. But we have really kind of adapted well. We've hit the ground running in terms of adapting to this brave new world. We all have adjusted the way that we record, with the way we collaborate on music, because a lot of that was done in person, and we actually haven't seen each other in about a year.
Wow.
So
we live in 7 different cities.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a roller coaster in terms of, okay, what do we do now? How do we adapt? And we have found a way to keep coming up with music. We found a way to collaborate on things and do what I feel is really high quality work, the work that I'm proud of, that stands up to anything that's out there. But it's just been a kind of a, I call it kind of retooling a 747 in flight, because nobody saw this coming. Nobody in the industry saw it coming.
Right.
Yeah. And your thoughts?
Yeah, we really had to get a master class real quick on green screen and cameras and
Yes.
all sorts of stuff, because we've done some things recently where people said, I thought y'all didn't get together, and we're like, well, we weren't together, but we really looked like we were. And some of these things we should have really, even in our careers already, such as recording and some of the things we should have already done, but this forced our hand.
Yeah.
And so something good really has come out of this bad situation. And this is the long, even when it was like about May or June, it was the longest we had ever not been on the road. You know, at 3-4 months, because we're on the road usually about 200 days a year. So we none of us were used to even like being home for 60 days. You know, never mind 90 days now, or a year and change. So I think we've done something really good with it. Of course, we have now learned, at least I personally have learned, how much I love people. I knew I loved people before, but now I realize how much I really love the interaction, crowd reaction, and just mingling even after shows, to talk to people.
Yeah. Like, as a singer myself, I've been I will admit that I've been lax in learning the technical side, because there's always been someone there to say, you know what, I need to get this song recorded or something. And I go there, go to a studio, there's an engineer, you never had to do any of it. I never had to do any of it. And so I know what to do in the booth, but but what to do on the board, that has been a steep learning curve. But it necessity is the mother of invention, they say.
Yeah. Hey, Joe. Yeah, you definitely
Yes.
got the same background as us.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like us, we launched this show January of 2020.
hmm
And I remember our original plan was to do 100 interviews our first year. We thought if we could do that,
Wow, that would be a lot of
it'd be a
shows.
great
Yeah.
foundation
Good
for our
start.
show for the first year. And then COVID happens. And I'm sitting there like, okay, this could be a blessing to us. The world slowed down. And I told Sandy, I was like, you know what? I bet artists that are a little bigger that wouldn't come on new shows might give us a chance being
Yeah.
a new show. And because of that, we reached out to everybody last year, and we did over 300 interviews last year because of that.
Wow. 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 No, you're exactly right. People are, I mean, look what's happened to just this technology. More people know how to use it than ever before. It's just a crash course that people would have never had.
And it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge for when people go back.
Are amazing on it. My kids are amazing on it. They're like I mean, they can switch in between things. And it's funny when a 7-year-old looks at you with pity. It's a dad. It's this. This is how you do it. Just let me. Don't.
and I think that this is actually going to be a blessing for a lot of artists because it was always a lot of the up and coming artists, they always did like live shows type stuff on Facebook. Bigger ones are just now doing it now because of the situation. But I think that because the whole event things are now having where people can pay $5 or something to watch a concert online. I have a feeling when everything goes back to normal or whatever that looks like, I think that a lot of artists, and this would be smart for artists to do, is when they go back, they have their physical presence there, the crowd. But I bet they set up an event thing so the world can watch too.
Wow, you might be correct. One thing you said that is definitely true. You said whatever normal is, and that's the perfect way to say it because some things will not go back, right?
Right.
Some things, and that's the example you're given is that now that this door has been opened in reference to technology, why wouldn't people continue to use it instead of me just performing to the 2,000 people that are in front of me? Hey, technology allows it to just go out to more people.
Look at what the person said. They watch it from YouTube too right now because we're live on both YouTube and Facebook.
Yes.
There you go.
And it's been an equalizer in terms of big artists, small artists. You're all in the same boat. You all have the same. Now you all have the same restrictions in terms of okay, what can we do? Like let's just say you're a major artist and you could command an arena of 30,000 tonight. That doesn't matter. You can't just because nobody can gather. So now you are on the same level as an artist who can command 400 people in a club. Same thing. Yeah. They can't do it. You can't do it. Now, what can you do?
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's all we've done with our show is we've just done things that we could do at the time. I'm part of several podcast groups out there. And it seems like the biggest mistake new podcasters make, or I should say wannabe podcasters make, is that they don't launch. They ask all these, you see all these questions, they're asking question after question after question. Well, how you do this? How you do this? What equipment do I want? And I'm always like trying to tell people, you don't need any equipment. Just go live. Because what if you don't like that? I mean, what if you start a podcast and you just spent $2,000 to get all this nice equipment, and then you don't even like it? When you can just pull out your phone, go live, and talk, or even just record from your phone and talk and do 8, 10, 12 podcasts and see if you even like it. Because I think that's what's starting to happen is people won't start because they want to know everything before they start. We just didn't know nothing and says, let's just start. And because of that, we're at 350 plus shows in a little over a year.
Indeed. Very good point. Sometimes you just got to go do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's no way to learn how to do it without doing it. You got to do
Exactly.
Yes.
So, you know, a lot of people would ask, when did you know you want to do music? But I like to always go deeper than that. When did it click that music could actually be a career?
That's a great, great question. When did it click? I think for us was very, very early. There was a group that came before this one that at least 4 or 5 of us were part of, that broke up. And then about 3 or 4 months later, we put together this group, Naturally 7. And this was in 1999.
Oh, wow.
And we got involved in the a cappella competition.
Yeah.
And we only had 2 songs in our repertoire. This is called the Harmony Sweepstakes in San Francisco. And first we had to do the New York portion of it. And even then we didn't think we were, we thought it'd just be a good experience. We won that competition and they flew us out to San Francisco for the national competition. And we were competing against some people that were already in this as a career, coming back from, long tours and cruises and all that. And we won that. And when we won that, it really told us, oh, wow, we might be able to do this.
They're doing it professionally.
As a career.
We beat them.
And that's what we did. From there, we never looked back. Everything from that point was, let's give it a try.
And, I always thought with our show, I always thought it would be big one day, but I didn't think we would grow so fast with the guests that we've had come on. But we also didn't predict COVID. COVID kind of expedited our show.
It did.
And, you launched too much before COVID happens. And then so we built a small foundation. It was still a foundation. So we're just like rode this wave. And all of a sudden we've had so many great people on our show, like y'all, and so many people that, Randy Travis, Lee Bryce, Sarah Evans, and we had yesterday actress LaToya Ward was on our show, and she's been on Tyler Perry's movies and stuff. So all of a sudden we have this crazy show that COVID kind of expedited everything because, and we're just sitting here like, okay, we're running with it.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. Sometimes it just comes like that. Another, we've had different things that have happened in our career that have told us, okay, we're ready for the next level. We're ready for the next level. The very first time we went on tour, we were asked to go on tour with Michael Bublé.
Oh, wow.
And I realized at that time, I had never heard an a cappella group or voices fill an arena.
Huh.
Right. So
usually
it hadn't been tried.
Hadn't been done, right? So I usually, you usually are able to look up to artists. And I realized that finally we were in a position where we were going to be the first to do this thing. There was nobody else to look up to. And we found ourselves in that position quite often. And we've had some really great people like Quincy Jones and, like I said, Bublé and Coldplay, and just to stamp our brand and go, wow, you guys are the best at doing what you do. And so we've just kept on pushing that envelope. And when those opportunities have arisen, like you just said with COVID, we've just taken them.
And I think because of the way that we do what we do, because it's something that's unlike other forms of singing. It's nobody's in this lane. So because of that, the nature of it means you've got to try something that nobody else is doing. So once you're in that mindset, once you're in the mindset of, okay, we're going to do something that isn't out there yet, then when life throws you a curveball, like turns the world upside down with COVID, you are already in the mindset of, let's do something new. Let's do something different. Let's try something. Maybe it won't work, but who knows? Nobody's tried it before. Maybe it will. And some of the things that we have done have really been innovative, and I haven't seen them because that's the nature of the beast of Naturally Seven. We do things a little bit unorthodox and out of the box, so we'll try something new.
Yeah, I love that. Now, when it comes to y'all's technique and all that, with all the different instruments that y'all play personally without an instrument,
Yes,
do y'all have
personally.
y'all own specialty? Do y'all each do the same? I mean, because
Yeah, yes and no. So yes to we actually do have specialties. As my brother is the vocal drummer, right? Hops is in the group is the bass, and so in that way we're like a band where we know what Ricky's the guitarist. I'm gonna do some keyboard things. This guy's over here is the DJ. Another one is gonna be on brass, or another one's gonna be on the harmonica. But there are times when we interchange those things too, where several of us can do because it's necessary for us to do a brass section. Then all of us have to be able to do a trumpet or a horn of some type, and depending on who's singing lead. So even Ricky's been in the group. What about 6 years now?
6 years. Yeah.
And he realized when he came in the group that he had to be able to sing lead, background vocals, and then numerous instruments depending on who's singing lead and who's doing what at what time. So we try to do as much as we can, but the reason why people do have specific instruments is because depending on what your voice is like the register of your voice or what your voice sounds like, you're going to be better at certain things than other people.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And because of the nature of what we do, there is no time. There's so many responsibilities. There are more things to do than it seems like can be done. So when someone is doing something, I've got to jump on their part to make sure everything is continuous, and then back and forth. So we have to be able to like a relay team, pass the baton real smoothly, so that in the ears of the audience they continue the musical experience without a hiccup.
Wow.
We often have people that come to multiple shows because they tell us, I can't take it over the same show, right?
It's probably never the same.
Right. And there's 7 of us on the stage. There's so much to watch because think about it. Usually in a band situation, there's still usually there's this one focal point person to watch. There's some background vocals, but some people say the bass guy is just as interesting to be watching as the drummer. Right. And then there's a lead vocal going on, and then there's this guy over here doing harmonica. There's so many things to watch that people say they just got to come back and see it again and again and again.
I love that. Yeah, now, as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory of like a Blake Shelton, of a Miranda, of a Carey, and other top artists. But they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes to get not just to their levels, but even a career level within the entertainment and music world. And I always want to talk about it because when you look at all the things out there, everybody kind of glosses over this side of it. But this is the most important side, the grind side.
It is.
And I'm going to tell a quick story that will help guide us where I want this to go. But back in 2014, we interviewed Allison Steele from Two Steel Girls. And I remember asking Allison what advice she'd given up-and-coming artists. And I'll never forget what she told me. She said, if you can see yourself doing anything else, go do that and just keep this as a hobby. Because the moment you want it to be a career, everybody owns a piece of you from that point on. You no longer own your own life. Everybody kind of has their own say. Then on top of that, your friends and relatives never understand. They invite you to weddings, to cookouts, to weekends, to holidays. But when you're at the beginning of your career in music, you're in that special time, that special grind. You have to say no to almost everything. So that you can say yes to everything music-wise. So she said, so they don't understand that because 9 to 5, they're off. You're 24/7. Then your family has to sacrifice on top of that. So it's like they have to give you up to the world and say, I'm willing to share you with the world. And be at least a little okay with it, even if they don't admit, even if they like inside or not, they have to kind of tell you, okay, go. But then she added, but if you cannot see yourself doing anything else, then go all in. That's the only way that those kind of sacrifices could ever be worth it. What do you think of what she said? Let's talk about that side of it.
Wow, I've been saying something similar for years. I've been saying that we do workshops and things with up and coming artists, and I tell them, okay, you know what? If you are in this because you want to get girls, or you want to meet guys, or whatever the case may be, or you want people to celebrate you, or you want to do something. If that's the
want to make money,
you want to make money. If that's the reason that you're in it, do something else that will make money. Do something else.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
Also, if you really, if you're doing it because you're good at it, if you're doing it because you're good at it, that's not good enough. Mm-hmm. Because there may be something else that you're good at that will give you all of those other things. But if you feel like you will not be a whole person if this isn't what you're doing, then that's when you do it, because there are so many ups and downs, and if you're in it to make money, sometimes you'll make a lot of money, and sometimes you'll make none. Sometimes, and a lot of times, if the success is what you're looking for, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Success, because once you reach a milestone, you've reached it. What will sustain you then? But if it is that you are a lifer in this, and you would be, I tell people that, we give music like cows give milk. They don't give milk because you drink it. They give milk because they're cows. Like, we are musicians. We give music because that's what we do. And
let me say this, Ricky, because you didn't actually say the Ricky phrase, so I'm gonna have to be a little bit more Ricky than he is. You do it if you have to do it, then do it.
Right.
If you have to do it, the artist that you said, I'm gonna have to steal that. That if you can see yourself doing something else, then do that. That was well said, because most people that have the stick-to-itiveness to stay the course in this arena, they can't imagine anything else.
Any other life.
They can't. And like Ricky was saying, the ups and the downs, even when somebody is absolutely or presumed successful, they're going through some stuff that, like you said, behind the scenes. It doesn't matter even when, when I look at it doesn't matter when back in the day, or with an artist that's at the top of their field, they'll come on television for 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, and everybody be like, "Oh, that was cool." They spend weeks, weeks working on that thing, weeks and weeks. I'm waking up early people just don't understand that part of the business. That yes, there's all this glamour and all this stuff that goes with it, but for the most part, it's grind. Yes. You better love music, to the point where I realized that if I walked away from music, that every time I would hear music or watch music, I'm like, I miss it so much. If that's who you are, then do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And we're in the same boat as y'all, because we're chasing that same crazy dream, just on a different platform. We want to be the Bobby Bones, exactly, the Ty Bentleys, the Kelly Clarkson show on TV. That's what we're striving for. And I'll be honest, our vision has changed because when we first launched, it was just an audio show. But I remember that very first interviews that we did on January 3rd of 2020. We interviewed Ashlyn Grace and Ava Page in Nashville. And I remember after the show was over, I told Sandy, "That's it. I know we're supposed to do this. I just knew it." And it was one of them things where, and I think that's why we've been able to do 300 plus shows in our first year, because you can't do that many if you don't have that passion.
Yeah,
if you're
the
not
dream drives us to
you
keep
know,
going. Yeah.
I watch a lot of other podcasts, and they think we're crazy doing 300 shows our
Oh,
first
yeah.
year.
Mhm.
And but at the same time, we're like, you know what? We'll just outwork everybody and outlast everybody because I remember a story, and I love this story because in the music world, as you know, the really thing is you got to outlast everybody. Eventually, everybody drops, and then as they drop, that's when you can take their place because you're grinding it out. But I remember a story where two guys are in the woods and a bear pops up, and one guy jumps down to the ground, putting his shoes on. The other guy tells him, what are you doing? You can't outrun that bear. He said, I don't have to outrun the bear. It's got to outrun you.
I love it. A lot. The grind, you have to actually love the work of it. Like you have to enjoy practice like you enjoy performance. Sometimes you'll feel like, man, like the performance comes and people celebrate it, and you'll think to yourself, man, I hit it so much better in practice. Man, but that grind of actually working towards that goal, you have to learn to love that. Because my father always said when I was coming up, when he would try to encourage me to teach me to become a hard worker, and he would say he always had these quotes that I loved. I didn't love at the time, but I love now. I find them falling out of my mouth, and I hear it in his voice. And he would say, "The heights of great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards through the night." And that means that they kept working, and their companions were resting, and they were working, and they didn't reach those heights by just it didn't happen today. It happened 3 years ago.
Yeah. And I remember a quote that I'll never forget where a friend of mine on Facebook said, "Marry the process, divorce the results."
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Because again, that's like what you were saying. You really do. This is like a marriage. We've been married 18 years, and the show is really like a marriage. The grind is like a marriage. You really have to see it as you're all in. This is your baby, and if we were married to the results side, because our show's not made money yet, we don't have sponsors yet, so it's not made money yet. If we were married to the results, we'd have quit a long time ago.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Right. That's a very good, beautiful quote, as Susan is saying there, and accurate. Absolutely.
So we talked about the grind a little bit. Now let's go flip the script and go the other way. Tell us a few moments where you're like, wow, we got to do that.
What do you want to Indy 500?
Indy 500 was a big one. What was that? 400,000 people watching.
400,000. They decided to build a truck as a stage.
On the stage, on the track.
To go around the track. And speakers and everything all built for Naturally Seven's performance. And so it's moments like that as you're going around the track, you realize, wow, this is really happening, guys.
And so we come up, and it's turn one where the grandstand is, and then you're on the jumbotron, and you see, and you can hear when you finish your performance and you hear that roar, you hear it all the way back from the infield. You hear and you realize, wow, it's a different thing. And sometimes you just have to, like, okay, stand there and take this in. This is happening. And that was one of those.
We did Quincy Jones' 75th birthday. We were invited there, and it didn't take us long to realize that we were there with nothing but greats, Shaka Khan and Herbie Hancock and Patty Austin and all these people. The only people that were invited that he did not know was Naturally Seven. And as we got on stage and did our thing, we got a standing ovation that night. This is in Montreux, Switzerland, and he came on the stage and said, "I don't know who the heck you guys are, but I got to find out immediately."
Wow.
And that was a moment, Chris and Sandy, that was a moment that you're like, all right. We're here. You know, we've been blessed to have a lot of moments like that, that have rejuvenated us. Because there's always things where you think, oh, I think I've taken this about as far as it could go. And they're just always, so we feel blessed in that way.
There are big moments and small moments too. Like for me, like when we go on tour and like the first show, when you haven't done it in a while. And the first show, when you go out and you see the people who have never seen it before, their faces like, and then you start seeing the little conversation happen where they realize what's going on. They're like, are they? They're doing that with and they start to tap people like,
it was our face.
Wait a minute.
When we first heard y'all, I told Sandy, he's like, you got to see this group. I mean, it was just amazing. It was
like,
7 of them.
Is that all acapella?
And I heard about acapella, but I never heard of acapella with no instruments. And you are the instrument. Yeah. And it was just like one of the things.
Blown away.
It was one of them things that was like, y'all had this magic touch. And I had to have y'all on our show.
That realization moment is really cool, and I like it's new every. I like to see them crack the code. Right, that moment, I love it.
Because what we were doing is so different. We had to coin the phrase "vocal play." So what we call what we do, vocal play, and it's really nice for us to see lots of groups coming up, whether it be here at home, South America, Africa, Asia, and they're saying, "Hey, we're doing vocal play too. Check out our vocal play." And so it's almost like we've started our own genre.
Wow, I love that. Now, as y'all know, a lot of people, they see the artist, but they don't see the teams behind them. And to me, the teams never get the love they deserve.
They don't.
Because without the teams, you can't do what you do. And I don't care if you have a team of one person or a team of 300, like Justin Bieber says he has. A team is a team. So if you want to take a few moments, just tell us about the team that helps y'all be who you are.
The first thing that really comes to mind is when we travel minimally as 8. Because we need our engineer, James Karen. We call him the 8th member. And oftentimes when it comes to an engineer doing their job great, it's almost like when people realize that everything is perfect and everything went just the way it's supposed to do, most engineers don't get credit for that. They only get credit if something goes wrong.
Right.
But in our situation, it's a little bit different. People know that James is at work because they're realizing that, wow, I'm hearing all these different sounds and different things happening that engage. It's us doing the sounds, just like any rock band is putting chorus and octaves and verbs on their sounds. So he's like, anybody that sees he's in the midst, they can see him moving like an octopus, and he's doing his thing. So he's the first person of our team that I would salute that doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Oftentimes,
he has to know the show as well as we do.
He knows the show if not more so, because he's got to know all 7 people are doing at any given point in time. And we don't do it without him. Like, people don't get that. Like, unless we're singing off mic, we're like, we don't do the show without our engineer, James Karen. So salute to him. Our managers, we've been with one set of managers really for the majority of our career, going back to 2003, which are affectionately called Super Dad, Super Dad Management. And we also have our U.S. management, which I think maybe you guys were connected to with Bill and Hank over here. And like you said, the team is so important. Whether it's a one-man team, and you know, that team has grown as it's times when it's been huge and times when it's been cut down a little bit. But without that, you're really kind of dead in the water.
You have to have people that agree on a vision, that see it. Like as an artist, you come to the table like, okay, this is what I want to do, and someone has to see what you see. They have to believe it.
That's so
important. And it's
gonna hold y'all back.
It's really, you know, they have to buy you more than they buy your product, and they have to believe. It's like you're selling hand grenades. Like, if I'm selling hand grenades, you have to believe in me as the salesman. I can't just let you throw a hand grenade.
Right.
Like you gotta believe me. If you have to believe I have good hand grenades.
Yeah.
Well, that's a crazy example, Ricky. A crazy example.
He drove the point home, though.
Very important there.
But another important one for us right now during this pandemic is our guys that do the video edits. The video edits. You know, we are at home doing our green screen stuff, and we're handing it off to these guys, and they're piecing it together. That would be Peter and Jaleesa Gibbs and Robbie, who they are just excellent at what they do, and they understand whatever we're trying to do. We don't have to say much. And that's when you know that you've got a great team where, no, I know what you want to do with this.
I get it.
You know, that type of thing.
That's how we are. We both know each other so much that, you know, if I want to do something, she pretty much knows, okay, I get it.
Right. And that's what's supposed to happen in a marriage, right?
It is.
And that's what your team is. You know, if you have a nice, loyal team, you treat it just like how you would treat a marriage.
Yep, a well-oiled team is like you said. It's one unit, all going same direction. You know, like if you get in a rowboat and you got 10 people rowing, if you've got one side rowing one way, one side rowing the other way, you're going nowhere. But if everybody's rowing the same, you're going all in the same direction.
And on top of that, Chris, you're rowing harder than you have to.
Exactly. If everybody's not pulling the same direction, you're rolling harder.
This thing isn't going anywhere. Why is it not going anywhere? And you're going crazy.
And that's why it's so important for people, especially artists, to pick that right team. You know, I think a lot of times people will just pick anybody. I like the idea of a brand new artist learning every phase of what it takes to do the business side, because then when they do that, when they bring on that first team member or a second team member, if they've played every part, now they know who to pick because they were there. They've done this. So they know who that right fit is for that team.
And they'll appreciate that person even more.
Exactly.
And speaking of teams, we have a third co-host that we always bring on, our little 9-year-old, to ask one or two questions. So she's going to go get it. And we've got a 2-year-old little daughter that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into our show too, because we are a family affair show.
Family affair. All right.
Yep.
All right. I love it. Yeah. Well, that Chris is unique. I don't think I've seen it where everybody's really, you know, totally involved. So if that's what your goal is, that's going to be
that's awesome. I love it.
Well, that's like our marriage. You know, since we married 18 years ago, our marriage has always kind of been our brand. Like, you know, we live in Savannah, Georgia, and we used to do a lot of business events here, networking, and people would remember us as the couple because we were always together. Because we've been a 24/7 couple since the day we married 18 years ago. Now, a lot of people don't understand that, and sometimes you have people say, "Oh, I couldn't do that." I was like, "Well, you're not married to me. You don't have to." You know, I never understand when people have to throw their opinion in it. I'm like, I'm not asking you to do that. This is how we choose to live.
Indeed. Very cool.
But yeah, it's just crazy out there. And you know, this whole year has been really phenomenal. on some fronts. And yeah, sometimes you get nervous about talking about that side of it, of what the blessings that COVID has brought, because you don't want people to feel like, oh, you're underestimating the deaths and all. And I'm not. But you know what? It's here. It's happening. And we just have to live with it to the best of our ability and run with the positiveness that we can get out of it.
Well, some of it is that we're not some of the old normal we shouldn't go back to. So some of that was hurting us, and we found out that we could do without it because we had to. And now is some of that we shouldn't go back to. So that's a positive in my estimation.
Okay.
So hi, Ricky and Roger.
How you doing?
Hello.
I do good. So what's your favorite foods?
Favorite foods. Woo.
Okay. On the road, our favorite food is Korean barbecue.
Mm.
We have been in many, many countries all over the world, and we keep coming back to Korean barbecue. And I hadn't tried it until I was a member of Naturally Seven, and I'm a believer.
Absolutely, absolutely. That what Ricky just said is true while we're on the road. But I will also say that I cannot get away from my love for pizza. I just love pizza. I bet you're the same.
Yeah, what's yours, Betty?
Pizza.
Pizza, see?
You guys.
We're seeing it. We're seeing this.
Y'all in sync.
I don't know if it's about that triangle. I don't know about that slice. But pizza is really, really. I'm almost good for pizza at any point in time.
That's him. Okay, your next question.
All right, what's your favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show, Rick? You want to go first?
Okay, man. Right now, I am a WandaVision believer. I love WandaVision. I'm like a WandaVision evangelist right now. Like I'm trying to win people over to the show. Like, look, WandaVision right now is I'm all in.
Favorite TV show? Wow. Favorite TV show. What is my favorite TV show? Okay, I'm gonna have to say one of my favorite TV shows is The Good Doctor.
Oh yeah,
that is a good one.
Right, The Good Doctor.
Yeah.
I have a 13-year-old who's autistic, and he's on the spectrum, and I find it just really amazing for just watching that show and just seeing all the beautiful things. The same thing, so many of the many beautiful things I see with my own son Quincy. So that show just draws me in.
Oh wow, what's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob.
Oh,
there you go. Okay.
Yo.
And you know what's been pretty cool about our show is that he watches a lot of Nickelodeon shows. So we've been able to bring on a lot of because since we bring on artists and actors, there's been a lot of people from his shows. Like he watches a new show, Side Hustle, and we've already had 2 people that came from that one show onto our show. So he's been able to talk to people.
Did you watch the Super Bowl on Nickelodeon?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so I switched over from the regular broadcast, and I don't think I'm going back. I loved the way they did it. It was awesome. I loved. I'm a fan of everything they did on the
he wouldn't watch
Super
football,
Bowl.
but when they made that announcement, he's like, "Well, he watched the game because of that."
It was great. It was great. I loved it.
So also genius marketing.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get the kids before they get older, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Making
Bye,
sure that
thanks.
you'll be ready there. You'll be there next year.
Yeah.
Same time.
Yeah.
All right, we enjoyed that. Thank you.
All right, this 2015, we got a chance to interview Kelsey Ballerini before she was big, of course.
Mhm.
And I asked her where she wanted to be in 5 years. I always like to tell this story before I ask the guest that exact same question, because the answer she gave us back in 2015 is to the T of what she's living now.
Oh, it definitely is.
She knew where she was going, and nothing was stopping her. So knowing that, where do y'all want to be in 5 years?
Whew. Well, we really feel that this this area that we're in, the genre we just spoke about, vocal play, we'd like to make it a household name, that a household word, which would make our group a household name too. So I know that's often that can be often the answer for people for 5 years, but we've now put in 20 years. We've put 20 years in this. So it's not something that we want overnight. It's just that we realize that, okay, it's beautiful seeing all these different things going on, but in the next 5 years, we realized that, there was one of the labels that we were on named one of our albums Hidden in Plain Sight, because the label executive couldn't believe that we had done every show he named. He said, well, I got to get you guys on The View. We're like, yeah, we've done that. Oh, what about the late night show? Yeah, we've done that. The Tonight Show, we've done that.
Wow.
The Ellen Show, we've done. He said, how could you have done all these shows and all of my people around me don't know who you guys are? And we said,
that's how tough it is.
Yes,
that's how. Yeah, right there is the reason why you got to have that passion, because you can have all the right things, and that still don't take you off yet. There's you still got that grind even after, like with Idol. I remember Gabby Barrett took third in Idol a few years ago, and I remember that when she got off the show, that was when the grind really started for her. And because of that, she was able to eventually a year later get signed. And then last year, she became like the #1 country artist, and she's a newcomer. But if she didn't do the grind after the show, everybody thought, hey, she took third, or even took first. If she'd have took first, wouldn't have mattered. If you don't grind after you come to that platform, nothing in the future is going to happen.
Exactly. And that's one of the beautiful things of those shows. And it's also one of the dangers is that if you win, or you come second or third, or any place where there's enough of a spotlight, have you been doing the grinding? I remember when I was in elementary school, junior high school, and high school, mathematics just came to me easy. I didn't even understand why people went home and had to do the homework instead. It just in the class, I was just like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got it. When I went to college and we went into calculus, I realized that, okay, I'm not getting this in the classroom, so I need to go study. But now I had no study habits.
Oh, wow.
I had zero study habits.
So you had to relearn.
No. So, I don't mind saying I just did terrible. I just absolutely did terrible because my habits, and I didn't have a good way of picking up, like, okay, now I need to be able to do this. Often musicians that have not, artists, regardless of what field they're in, or even on the same platform you're in, if they're not used to grind, you're using the right word there, grinding, then they're going to be in for some shock at some point in time that, oh my goodness, this is too much work. I thought this was going to be, I thought we were going to have some at least fun, at least more than 50% of the time.
People thought we were crazy when we launched and we were doing a live show. And they're like, oh, so many mistakes that you'll make. And I'm like, you know what? I've had thousands of conversations in 18 years that we've been. In fact, that was one of the reasons I thought we could do this. Is Sandy would always get upset sometimes when we'd be on the street. And it was like, if I end up 2-3 minutes in a conversation with somebody, she would know we're going to be there 60 minutes, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. And she would roll her eyes and she'd get me. And I did that thousands of times. But now we kind of laugh about it because we look back. That prepared us for this show.
It did.
Because you actually like people.
and you like
it's not a given.
Right. And
I can't say that those conversations that didn't always not get heated because you just when you talk to that many people, you're going to have different beliefs and all that. And in the past, I used to be one of them that if you tell me your belief, I'm going to tell you mine. Now I've learned that what, let them have their belief. Let them say their piece. Let them say their piece. I like my piece, so I will just zip it. Let them say their piece because not every conversation has to be a debate.
No,
especially in this at this point in time. Especially at this point in time. Absolutely.
Now Sandy's got a couple questions.
All right. How would you describe your music to someone who's never heard it before?
I usually say you're familiar with a cappella. A cappella means you sing without instruments. I know you know that. But vocal play, that means you become the instruments. And usually they're like, oh, okay. And then I say from a lyrical standpoint, we really try to do a lot of, we come from a church background. So our lyrics are very inspirational and uplifting. We try to make sure that our music is taking you someplace.
I love that.
Right. And if they're going to listen, you might as well say something.
Yep, love that.
Exactly.
It's like they say some people want to say something, and some people have something to say.
And one more thing we add to that, I usually ask them, you're familiar with rock, R&B, hip hop, jazz, funk, pop. They say, yeah. Which one do you do? I say yes.
Yes.
I love that.
Love it.
And what would you like for your legacy to be as artist? What would you ultimately like to be known for?
That we started, that we brought, that we were part of of bringing vocal music back to the forefront. When you go back to the 1930s and 40s, harmony groups were the thing. When you go back to the 1950s and 60s, harmony groups were the thing. Go back to the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, harmony groups were the thing. Something happened in this century, and we've got to bring it back.
That's true.
Didn't think about that.
Didn't think about that, but you're right.
Yeah.
And I love harmony.
Also, I would say, you wanted said that you added something, that you pushed something forward, and a lot of times we exist on the outer limits of what is possible with the voice, and we're finding out and testing what those boundaries are, and pushing ourselves and finding out, oh, we could do more, we can do something else, and so feeling like you have advanced something is a fitting legacy, I think.
Awesome. Now let's look 10, 15 years down the road, and let's say y'all are a success on a grand scale. Whatever that looks like for y'all, you're there. If the people you are today could meet your future successful self, what would you want to remind him? Yeah, I flipped the question backwards because everybody always asks, what would you remind your younger self? I like to go in the future and say, what would you want to remind your successful self?
Do not forget, even going through this COVID pandemic period, do not forget how it felt to be away from the fans, to be away from what you love. Please remember how detached you felt as a fish out of the water.
Love that.
Love that. Yes.
And you know what? I would probably say, don't forget that this is. Don't forget that this is what you would have, like, what you wanted. This is what you asked for.
You're where you always dreamed.
Like, for instance, if I asked my college self, okay, if you had your druthers, if everything worked out, what would you be doing, and what would it look like? And a couple of years ago, I think we were on a stage in I think we did this thing in Switzerland called the Sea Rose, which is a floating stage. It looks like a big rose, and the audience is on this barge, and in the background you're on a lake in Switzerland, and in the background there's mountains, and you're floating in, and it looks spectacular, and you're on the stage and the audience is there, and I was thinking to myself, if I talked to my college self, this is what it would have looked like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
where you're supposed to be.
Right. This is what it would have looked like. Right now, like that feeling of when you're singing and then you stop singing and you turn the mic over to the audience and they sing. I don't know a better feeling than that. And
yeah, I want to add to that is that oftentimes people do not know when they get there.
Right.
They don't. They feel like they've, like it's a really popular thing to say. I'm never there. I'm going. But you did have a dream. You had a vision, and sometimes it's good to just sometimes stop and smell the roses and say, this is what I wanted it to be, and enjoy that, and remembering your goals to be there. People often ask us, how is it that we put out so much energy for every show that we do? And I tell them that I remember being in the audience and coming to a show and thinking to myself, I've been waiting for weeks to come to this, and I looked at the artist that I loved so much, and I could tell this is just another show for them.
Wow.
They gave off, they had high moments that were great, but they had moments that told me
authentic's important.
It is.
Yeah, you're thinking about breakfast tomorrow or something. And I said, I don't want not only myself or anyone in my group to be thinking like that. I want people to know, just like you've been waiting for this for weeks. In fact, we have a song called Caught in the Moment, which is all about not thinking about tomorrow, not thinking about the past, but thinking about that this moment, no matter how you want to talk about it, we can never repeat it. You're not going to be the same person. We're not going to be the same person. It's a moment in time, so you have to respect it, and you have to love it, and you have to enjoy it. And so we preach that as a group to each other.
That's like the water in a river never runs twice.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Always
absolutely. Different. That again, Chris, I'm stealing that one too.
So as we come to a close here, tell everybody how they can reach out to you.
Yes.
Good, Rick.
Well, we're on all the social media platforms. It's Naturally 7. It's just like it's Naturally 7. The only place where it's different is our website, where it's Naturally SEVEN. Naturally number 7 is, and that is because of well, it's a story we'll get into another time. But on all our platforms, we're at Naturally 7, Naturally the number 7, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and so forth. And you can find us on YouTube. Go ahead and like and subscribe to our channel if you so choose. There's lots of good stuff on there.
Love that. We really enjoyed having y'all on the show. We definitely look forward to having y'all back for updates.
Oh, absolutely.
All right. We've enjoyed ourselves, and we again. I love that family affair.
Oh, it's a great concept.
And I forgot to ask, what was his age?
9. He's 9.
9. Wow. And he's already got that good poised, good questioning. I love it. So
we're trying to train him right.
Oh, you got him. You got him. You got him. Keep him close.
He'll have a show soon.
Yeah.
All right, we loved it. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Take care.